Okay, this is a simple back mobility routine that you can do if you've got any kind of stiffness or pain in your lower back. Okay, so the first exercise that we can do is called a walkout. So this is going to engage the glutes. So we're going to hinge at the hip, come out into a plank, and then walk back up again, keeping the knees as straight as we can, and then back up. So hinging at the hip, walking out, and then back up. So each of these exercises we can do, that I'm going to show you, you can do 3 sets of maybe 3 to 6 reps of each of these. Okay. Next one we're going to do is coming down onto the floor. So what we're going to do is put the feet flat. We're going to drop the hips to the floor there, feeling that extension through the back. Then we can move onto the toes and pushing the head through the shoulders. Taking our time with these, using them as a nice dynamic stretch. Don't force anything. If you feel any pain, just back off a little. But it should feel nice and really start to loosen everything up. So hips to the floor, keeping the arms straight, pushing up through. So this one's called peaks and valleys. Okay, from there, we're going to put the feet together and have the knees apart, and then we're going to stretch forwards with the hands coming into this position. So we're sitting back onto the feet. We can then pull ourselves forward with the fingertips, feeling a stretch in the lower back, and then up through below the arms as well, along the side of the back. From here, we can walk each hand out to about 2 o'clock on a clock face, and again sit back on the feet. That should feel really nice on your lower back. You can hold it there, just keep breathing nice and deeply. Hold each of these positions for maybe 30 seconds. Back to the centre, and again coming out to 10 o'clock on a clock face. Breathing nice and deeply, holding that position. Stretching out a little bit if we can. Okay, so that's called child pose. And then putting a lateral part in as well to increase the stretch. Okay, we're going to go on to our back for the next one. We're going to do some knee hugs. So what we can do is hug each leg alternately. Hold for a couple of seconds as we stretch the other one down. Nice and slowly. You might feel a little bit of clicking, but that's okay. Okay, so we can do sort of 3 to 5 of those each side, and then we can hug this to our chest and pull it across to the opposite shoulder, just to increase the stretch there. So pulling across to the opposite shoulder, you might not get a lot of movement there, but you might just feel a nice easing sensation on your lower back. Okay, so after we've done those knee hugs, we can start off this stretch by putting the heels on the floor and just have your arms wherever's comfortable, and just allow your knees to drop down to either side. Again, this can feel really nice and soothing if you've got a sore lower back. And we can do maybe 4 of those per side. If that starts to feel too easy, then we can take the feet off the floor and drop them down. You might need to put your arms out there to stabilise yourself. But just allow the weight of your legs as they go towards the floor to sort of stretch the lower back there. Okay. The extreme version of that is to do it with the legs extended. That can be just a little bit too much for some people, but it's something that you can build up to if you find that stretch helpful. Okay, another nice thing to do is to hold the knees to the chest and just have a little rock from side to side, using the floor to massage your back. And then we can go forwards and backwards. So as if we're rolling one vertebra at a time, up and down off the floor. And then we can do big circles in each direction. Again, just go as big as is comfy. Okay, the next stretch we're going to do, we start off with our legs on the floor. Just tilt your pelvis to make sure you, or have a little wiggle, make sure your lower back's in contact with the floor. You're going to stretch the arms out at 90 degrees, and you're going to bring your left leg up into this tabletop position. So it's flexed at 90 degrees at the hip and knee. Now what we're going to do is we're going to gently drop it across to the right hand side, keeping as much of this left hand as possible in contact with the floor. So I've got a lot of stiffness there, but I can just hold it there, let that stiffness subside, and then I can use my right hand, gently put it on my knee, and then take a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I can gradually coax this knee closer towards the floor. So deep breath in, breathe out, and I'm aiming to get that knee in contact with the floor eventually. So there's no rush, we can do several breath in and out cycles until gradually that knee touches the floor. All the time trying to push that hand down into the floor. Should feel a nice stretch in your shoulder as well. Slowly come back to the centre position, return that to the floor, reposition the pelvis if we need to, bring that leg back, the other leg now, the right leg into the tabletop position, and keeping as much of the right arm on the floor as we can. We're going to dip this knee across to the other side, just allow it to reset there, and again use your left hand now on there, take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, guide it closer to the floor, all the time trying to push the right arm into the floor. So we should be feeling a nice stretch through the lower back. You might feel some little crunches in your back there as you breathe in. Again, back to the central position, and then back on the floor. Okay, final little stretches that we can do. Call this the cat-cow sequence. So we come into a 4-point kneeling position. So we've got the shoulder directly above the hand, hips directly above the knee. Okay, in this position we're going to take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to round through your back just as far as is comfortable to do in that position. Just have a couple of breaths in and out, and then on the next big breath out, we're going to drop into that hollow position. So we call this cat-cow or cat-camel. Again, big breath in. When you breathe out, push into that scared cat position. And then hollow. So we can do a few rounds of that. What we're doing is extending. So flexing and extending through that range of movement. And it should feel quite nice to do that. Okay, enjoy.